They may not be easy subjects to deal with, but that doesn't mean we don't talk about them. Coming up on NewsNite, we talk about human trafficking and rape. Welcome to NewsNite for April 26th. We're glad you could be with us for our program tonight. You know, just because something makes us uncomfortable doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it. April is Sexual Abuse Awareness Month, and we thought we would take this opportunity to talk about two aspects of this issue: human trafficking and rape. Joining us to give us more insight onto both of those issues, we want to welcome Terri Heckman, who is CEO of the Battered Women's Shelter and the Rape Crisis Center in Summit and Medina Counties, and Dana Zedak, Executive Director of the Rape Crisis Center. Hi, ladies.
Hi. Hello. Thanks for having us, Jody.
It's my pleasure. You know, more and more, and we talked about this even before we came on air, more and more we're hearing more about human trafficking. In fact, Terri, you were part of a seminar earlier this month exploring human trafficking. So explain, please, to our viewers, what is human trafficking?
I always tell people that it has three parts to it. First of all, what happens? People are recruited and transported and sold and harbored and or I'm in receipt of you. But people are going to move somewhere, and they're going to move because I've threatened you, I've forced you, I've tricked you, coerced you, and then for what? For your sex, for your labor, to use you as a domestic help, to use you in one of my sweatshops, to use you in my fields. But people are being bought and sold like slavery years and years ago.
It is slavery.
Absolutely. It is the modern day slavery, and unfortunately now we hide it much better.
Why are we hearing more and more about this right now? I mean, as I said before, I don't think I'd heard about human trafficking, at least in this country, until maybe about a year ago.
Well, I think it was 2000 that really the United States started talking about it. So it's pretty new as far as Americans being able to say, yes, this is a problem, yes, it's happening, and yes, we need to do something about it. Until then, it was all underground. So it really is new, and that's why we're all starting to hear about it now. The program that we just had was only one of hundreds that are happening. You can go on the website any day, and in Ohio find somewhere this week that there's going to be a program on trafficking, and it's because it has just come out of the woodwork, and people are talking about it, wanting to stop it, wanting to help.
This is a human rights issue, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not just in as it used to be in third world countries or across the, it's here in America, in our communities.
And I would ask your viewers to go on there, most of them have web access, to go on the web and look up Ohio as far as trafficking goes, and what they're going to find out is behind Portland, Miami, and Las Vegas, Toledo, Ohio is number 4 as far as trafficking investigations, arrests, prosecutions go. Toledo, Ohio.
Why?
They're saying it's the crossroads of a lot of roads that head both east and west, north and south. Okay. You can move people to Canada within a couple of hours to hide them if need be. You can get out by water, you can get out by air. Okay. It's an international airport. So number 4, and they said that most people are being trafficked through Toledo to Las Vegas. So we're talking about kids, and we're talking about sex trafficking.
Well, and that's one of the things I want to ask you. It's what is the difference between human trafficking for, let's say, labor use or for sex? And which is more prevalent in this country?
I think, as Dana would probably mention also, whenever you begin to talk about abuse, sexual abuse, it is so underreported. People don't like talking about it. They feel uncomfortable with it. They want to pretend it's not. Gosh, why would that happen in America? Why would people want to be with children? It can't happen. The women that are out there talking about it, battered women's shelters, rape, they must be over-exaggerating. It is underreported, and yet it is still 80% of the trafficking is sex trafficking. another 20, say 25%, something is for labor. You could go into, I think you mentioned to me a little earlier that you had a friend who said in the nail business,
nail salon business,
they're finding a lot, if they go in and they check these people, they're finding out that they were brought over just to work in either a brothel that's being covered up by a front business such as nails or hair or massage, but that really behind the scenes what's happening, and these people are forced to do debt labor, debt payoff, meaning I went to your country, I said, you know what, and right now it's been Iraq, Iran, you know, the countries that people want to get out of because of war. I go there and I convince you there is a better way of life. You come with me, I will set you up, you'll have free room and board, you can work off me flying you there and everything, and as soon as you're worked off, you'll be an American citizen and you'll get to stay and it'll be a great life. As soon as you get here, I have control of your passport, your papers, everything like that. I tell you, this is what you're going to live in this room. Here's your sleeping bag. You stay here till it's paid off. You work from 7 in the morning until 11 at night, and I'll tell you when you're done being paid off. And these people just continue to work and work and work and work, thinking, when is it going to be paid off? But the alternative to them of going back is not something that they view as even possible anymore because they don't have their papers.
Yeah.
And why would I want to go back to that country? I keep believing in you that something better is going to happen if I can just stick it out.
Yeah. How about statistics, Terri? You came here with some statistics about trafficking.
And I think I've put some in front of you there. Go ahead if you want to start with the...
Oh, well, you've got the number of victims at any given time around the world is 2.4 million.
And I don't even think they can get a count. Dana and I were talking about this earlier today, that do we really even know? If that's how many they're counting, how many
are undercover? The percentage of victims exploited for sexual slavery, 80%, as you said. The ratio of female to male slaves, including children, is 2 of 3. The average cost of one human slave is $90.
That's it.
And the odds of rescue, 1 in 100.
1 in 100. They're saying more people are dying because if you begin to fight the person who has control over you, it's for $90. I can do away with you. Who's going to look for you? Who's going to miss you? Or
who knows you where you are?
Who even knows where you are? That's what they're saying about Toledo. By the time they figure out, I wonder if that train they were on, that bus they were on, that plane they were on, I think it hit Toledo. By the time they get to Toledo, and it's the FBI that investigates these cases, it's serious crime. By the time they get there, you've been shipped off to somewhere else. So they can't even find you. So really death for a lot of these people is the only alternative.
I do want to talk about the victims. You know, who are the most vulnerable victims? And let's talk about this country. We talked about people coming into this country, but in this country, who are the most vulnerable and the most victimized for trafficking?
Well, I mean, traffickers are looking for that vulnerability, and it could be that they're foreigners, and so there are vulnerabilities that they don't know our culture, they don't know our language. But for the people here, that vulnerability can be poverty, it could be mental illness, it could be addiction, it could be youth. And for the numbers that you just talked about, it's being a woman. That makes somebody more vulnerable to sex trafficking.
The age right now, the average age is 13. Wow. 13 years old. They're saying that kids are taken from their families, that they are looked for a while, that they are considered a runaway. They are considered a throwaway in some communities. The kid was always causing trouble. I'm sure they just ran away. They'll be back someday. They're not even looked for by some. We grow up in healthy, happy families that wouldn't allow us to just disappear. Right. It's just crazy to think that someone could have a child disappear and they just assume they've gone off on their own and they'll come back someday when they want to.
Wow. How much of a role does substance abuse play in this? Does it play a role?
Well, it's that vulnerability again, is that if somebody's addicted, you know, they fear coming forward because they don't want to say, well, I have a heroin addiction. Mm-hmm. They feel that what's happening to them is because of that addiction. So there are definitely some links between the two, no doubt.
I also think I read a story about trafficking across the border, and they talked about having young adults, young kids, 13, 14, 15 years old, running the drugs back and forth across the lines, and so I can say to you, you want to leave? You want to not do this anymore? Do you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to be in jail the rest of your life. Right. And so they just keep doing it and doing it. So drugs in a lot of ways are involved. Trafficking is the third highest crime right now in the United States, with drugs being number one and illegal guns being the second one, tied with trafficking.
What about the internet? Is the internet used or social media used to lure some of the victims into trafficking?
Absolutely. As scary as it is, that 13, 14, 15-year-old, they want to be seen as an adult. They want to be seen as old enough to make their own decisions, to make their own choices. They are talking to people online that are telling them they're a couple years older than them, which is very attractive when you're 15 and 16. You love college freshmen. I mean, it's, you look up to them, you want to be like them. So absolutely, if I get online and I pretend I'm one of those people, I could get a child to do a lot of things for me, maybe even never meeting them. I'll send you a reward in the mail. I'll do this, I'll do that. But they absolutely can get lured, can get kidnapped, or they can come absolutely on their own thinking, my family doesn't understand me, my family doesn't believe me, here's somebody I met, my parents would never agree with this, but I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go with this person, he told me about a great place we're going to live, there's other kids out there who aren't understood. The internet is huge.
How about law enforcement agencies? Are they equipped to deal with this? You said the FBI is primarily looking into trafficking around the country, but what are law enforcement agencies doing?
Trying to give more training.
Okay.
Remember, as we started this, we talked about the year 2000 being really the first year it was talked about. Officers need more training, and they will admit that they need more training. This takes time. These people are underground. They're in the back rooms. They're being hid. They're afraid to talk. They don't even speak English, some of them. Kids are afraid. They don't want to go home. Going home is worse than where they're at now, which is unbelievable to think that it could be that bad at home that you'd want to be with one of these people who is sleeping with you because they love you. They don't view it as a trafficking situation. But the officers need more training. They want to help. They're trying to help. But look at where some of the first cuts are made when cities get in trouble. It's to their law enforcement. Most of our cop cars have one officer in them now. It takes more than that when you get on scene to figure out what's going on many times. So it's almost not fair what we've done to them. But they're trying. And there's trainings for them all the time to keep them up to beat on trafficking.
Who profits from this? I mean, as I said, it's a $32 billion crime business?
Well, somebody is. And it's not the people doing the sex. They very rarely get any cash back. They get a place to live and food usually, and it's usually very little. But the actual money exchange is happening on a much higher level.
What we're going to do is we're going to take our discussion here to newsnight.net. But before we leave the television audience, I wonder if you have some way, if people suspect there's trafficking going on, is there a number they can call? Is there somebody that they can reach?
I would ask people, first of all, to report suspicion. Okay. You're never going to know for sure if trafficking is happening. Let the experts handle that. But if you suspect, you can call any battered women's shelter, any rape crisis center, the police department, a women's studies program, anywhere, and say, I don't know what to do, because there's so many little pockets of groups now helping. That they will connect you to the closest group to help. There's also a national hotline that you could use, or texting now. A lot of people are texting Be Free, and that will get you to the national hotline for trafficking.
Okay, well, we're going to continue this discussion. That will be on NewsNite.net.
For more NewsNite content, including extended discussions, full interviews, and the chance to speak your mind about the issues, join us online at NewsNite.net.
Welcome back to our second segment of Newsnight. You know, we're about a month away from the what's being called the Steubenville rape trial. And that trial brought out some information, or lack of information, that led me to believe that there's an awful lot of misinformation and a lack of education out there about rape. And that's what we're going to talk about in this segment. Dana, what is rape?
Well, no matter how uncomfortable it is to talk about, rape is unwanted, forced or coerced sexual conduct, and the law sees rape as having some type of penetration. However slight that is, it has to have penetration for it to meet the legal definition of rape.
And what's the difference between sexual assault and rape?
Well, sexual assault's sort of an overall term for any kind of unwanted sexual contact. So it doesn't necessarily have to be penetration, but rape is included in that overall umbrella of sexual assault.
And rape is not about sex, correct?
No, not about sex, but sex is used as the weapon. I mean, think about our sexual choices are so personal, so intimate, and so cherished and important to all of us. And when that choice is taken away, it can be devastating for people. So it's like sex is being used as the weapon against the person.
And it's also power, is it not?
Absolutely. It's about having power over that person.
And rape and sexual assault is not limited just to gender, correct?
Correct. Males can also be victims of sexual assault.
But talk about the stigma about that, because do males come forward as often and report sexual assaults or rapes?
They do not come forward as often, and let's make no mistake about it, females are targeted for sexual assault way more than males are. There are male victims. We do know that. We do know that it's hard for them to come forward. The FBI estimates that it's about 1 in 10 that are reported for someone to come forward. It takes a lot, and it's only 1 in 10. So if that's for females, we know that that statistic is even bigger when we come to males and their ability to come forward and talk about sexual assault.
Given the work that both of you do in the Rape Crisis Center, what kind of numbers are we talking about? Let's just say locally, on an average basis, how many rapes are reported?
Well, we know in 2009 and 2010, in the city of Akron, law enforcement agencies report what is reported to them, and for sexual assault, as far as rape is concerned, in Akron, there were approximately 200 rapes reported in Akron in those 2 years. So each year, respectively. So when you look at those statistics, again, 1 in 10 being reported, it's all those others that are sometimes getting to us on our hotline and sometimes not.
What do you do for people when they come to you at the Rape Crisis Centers?
I'll tell you, both of us have been doing this work for a long time, and I wish we had a magic wand. We see truly some of the strongest, bravest people sitting in front of us talking about things that it's just so hard to even imagine what they went through. We listen. We really do listen to them, meet them where they're at. Many times it's a matter of alleviating the guilt, but I did this, but I did that. Many times it's talking to them, how will I ever go on? This was just the most cherished thing to me, and now someone took it. And we really do try to get them to come to a point where they can say, there's a difference between someone taking this from you and you giving this to someone out of choice. We truly try to get them to separate the thought of giving yourself to someone sexually and someone taking it from you. And when they can do that, it really can help them look towards a future. But it's so much listening about where they're at. Sometimes it's a week after it happened. Sometimes it's a year. A year ago tonight it happened. Sometimes they say, I smelled someone with the same cologne on today, and now I think I'm going crazy because I feel like I'm right back there. So it's convincing them, you're not crazy. That's a trigger in your life, and it's going to be there. Not long ago, I talked to a mother who said she was sending her child away to college, and she had been raped at college and never told anybody, and now she's a nervous wreck about allowing her child to go away. So this is something that stays deep inside you your entire life, and you might need to talk to somebody at various points to get through little hurdles.
Right. I mentioned at the top of the program the Steubenville rape trial that I think we're all very much aware of, and some of the information or lack of it that came out. One of the young men, if I'm not mistaken, didn't understand that he had raped this woman, that they had raped this woman. Because as you had mentioned, Dana, digital penetration it's rape. Are we not getting the message out there to young people today?
Well, obviously we're not getting it out enough. And that's why we need to continue to try to get that message out there. What happened in Steubenville has been happening in small communities and big cities all over our country for many, many years. What's exciting to me about that case in Steubenville is that nationally we all got to pay attention to it. We all got to see it. It also had a piece in it that we've not really seen be played out before, and that's the YouTube, the social media, and how that played a part in what's happening. That stuff is a really big deal for kids today. So, of course, in sexual assault, it's going to play itself out as well. We do have a prevention program, I'll let Terri talk about that, called the Tina Project, that is getting out into the schools and getting the message. So,
there was a young woman about 10 years ago now that lived in southern Ohio that actually was killed by her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, and he came into her house and shot her and then shot himself. From that, her parents started trying to change some laws. One of the laws being now it is mandatory for some type of program to be in our schools on dating violence in general. And we started a program. I actually contacted her parents and I said, can we call our program the Tina Project in memory of her, Tina Croucher? And they said we would be honored. And I've since met her parents several times, wonderful people. And we actually have a young staff member, and I told Dana it can't be us anymore because they want to listen to somebody that's just a little bit older than them. But we actually have a staff member that goes into classrooms. It can be a small group of 10. It can be a group of 30. We don't like going auditorium style because you really do want to get a dialogue going with the kids. And I just said to her the other day, I said, how has it been in the classroom since Steubenville? And she said, they all want to talk about it. They all want to talk about it. They all have their ideas about it, and you have to listen to them. We happen to take a big bowl of candy and toss them candy if they share a good thought or something, so we are bribing them also. But just having the door open, even the young man who said, I didn't know that my hand would count as the same thing, that opens the door to us saying, yeah, we're not telling them. We're either afraid to say the words, we're afraid to present it. We also want to blame her. I had a long conversation with somebody who said, but it was partly her fault too. I said, you know what, separate the two. Let's find her responsible for underage drinking, for drinking till she passed out, for lying to her mom and going to a party. Let's hold her accountable for that. But it doesn't mean this should have happened to her. Two entirely different things. People need to be responsible for their actions in this world. And she's not responsible for the actions that happened to her without her consent.
Well, and we talked before we went on the air about the YouTube video about the young man. And Dana, can you describe what happens in this video?
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, you have to check it out. It's actually called the shortest PSA on how to handle a drunk girl on your couch ever. So that's the name of it. You can, look it up. It's so short, and it's basically this guy. He looks into the camera and he says, this girl passed out on my couch. She's drunk. Wait till you see what I'm going to do to her. And then he turns around and he puts a blanket over her and he puts a pillow under her head and he gives her some water. And then he looks back at the camera and he says, real men respect women. And that's what you're supposed to do. And it took a kid, a guy, a young man, to come forward and put that video out there. And it's, they say it's going viral, which is awesome because I have a 20-year-old and 25-year-old, both males. And sending them the video and saying, hey, share this with all your friends. It's so awesome.
The evening that this program airs, you have an event in downtown Akron. It's the 8th annual Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Tell us about that event.
It's our only fundraising event of the year, and it's really about awareness and bringing funds so we can continue to do this work. We are literally asking men to wear women's shoes and walk a mile in their shoes, that concept of, put yourself in their shoes. So we have men, but we also have women. We have kids, families that come. This is the 8th year that we've done it. It's short. It's sweet, it's funny, but it's about a serious topic too. So, people get out there, they've got fuzzy pink slippers on, they've got tennis shoes, they've got high heels. They get sponsors and they come and work together as a team to say, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. It's not okay.
I'm going to ask both of you, because you have been in this business for a long time. How do you do your job? I mean, how do you deal with those victims, as you mentioned before, Terri, who come in who are just traumatized by this? How do you continue to do your jobs? Where do you find the strength?
That's a good question. I think we have very good staff, first of all. We work with a tremendous group of people. We couldn't do this all day long and not go home drained. I think secondly, it is having a strong family behind us, a place where we can go and we can be weak because we can't be that at work. So I think our families are incredibly important. I think getting away from it's important. Being able to step away and not think about it. And that was something I couldn't do when I was younger, but we've had to learn to balance it. And a real feeling of there but for the grace of God, because this crime is something that could happen to anybody at any time. And for whatever reason, we're in our role, but it could have been us in their role. Sure. And I think keeping that in the back of our minds at all times helps us to help the next person that walks through the door.
Mm-hmm. Dana, how about you?
Ditto. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. It's really about our staff and the work that they're doing and supporting them that I think inspires both of us. I had a young woman in the Rape Crisis Center who just started. This is her first week. She's had 3 calls at the hospital where she went to go support victims who've been sexually assaulted during their evidence collection. So she's inspiring me this week, and we take turns, you know.
If people, viewers, need to reach you or to call out for help, or if they're victims and they need to talk, you know, how do they get in touch with you?
Calling our hotline. Our hotline is there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we're not going to judge people. We're not going to ask for names. It's an anonymous, confidential hotline where people can just call and talk. Moms can call and say, this Steubenville case is freaking me out. Kids can call and ask questions. Victims can call, whether it was 2 days ago or 20 years ago.
And you don't have to give your name. You can just call and talk to, ask questions, get information. And hopefully we will be there to prevent through education and then support when it does happen.
Ladies, thank you so much for what you do and for joining us on this program. And we want to thank you for being with us on NewsNite. Good night.